Hey guys, MeLikeBigBoom here, bringing you guys a new 3.0 update video for Unturned. Now this was posted yesterday, and I didn't notice it until like 11 o'clock at night, so I am a bit late on this, but nonetheless, I'm still giving you guys the information right here, so let's get started. So in the beginning, he does what he does in the beginning of every progress report. He says, in case you don't know, Unturned is going through optimizations to make the game run better on low-end PCs. He's working on dedicated servers, Valve anti-cheat, the Steam Workshop, and better networking for when you're playing online. Now, in terms of the actual update, he says, these past several days I've been working on some huge improvements to the day-night, roads, objects, and inventory system. So first he starts off with the day-night cycle. He says that you have complete control over the day-night cycle within the editor, so that's going to be very cool. The cycle looks nicer and moon stages are supported. Zombies will be affected by the full moon, so that's awesome. More zombies on the full moon, so if you wake up in your Unturned game and you look up at the sky and there's a full moon, you probably shouldn't go outside. Time in the editor is represented from 0 to 1, so on your server you can decide how long the day should be and what time it currently is. So that'll help for added realism, so longer days will be in the summer and shorter days will be in the winter. And as you can see in this image, you can change the intensity of the sun during dawn, midday, dusk, and midnight times of the day. And you can also adjust the fog, so I think that'll be amazing. Like at midnight, you could have a full moon and a bunch of fog, super cloudy. It'd make the whole world just look super creepy. I think that would be really cool. And so you can adjust the fog at dawn, midday, dusk, and midnight, just like the intensity of the sun. And then you can also adjust the clouds at each time of the day as well. So that'll be super cool, and as you can see in that picture, the clouds and the sun and everything looks a lot more realistic. And as you can see in this screenshot, you can see what the game looks like at nighttime. Now this isn't a full moon, but there's some clouds and the moon, and everything's looking a lot better than what it did in 2.0. Now moving on to the road tool, he says that it is extremely useful and he wish he had it when he was making the PEI map. It allows you to use any road texture you want and produce paths that conform to the terrain. You can even adjust it to suit things like 4-lane highways and train tracks. As you can see on the right side, you can choose to place down dotted line roads and single line roads, and he says that you can basically drag a path and it will conform to the terrains, and that way you aren't having to constantly adjust, and that way it's not clipping into the ground or raised up and floating. So it'll automatically do that and make it a lot easier for you to make roads. And then he also says that 4-lane highways and train tracks will also be a possibility with this, so that'll be super cool. Maybe we'll see some massive city maps where it's downtown, you got big highways, big streets, big roads. I think that would be awesome. That is the road editor that is being worked on. And then also he says objects can now be imported through the editor and spawned into the level. I'm not sure if that means like Steam Workshop objects or objects that are already into the game. So like you can just choose to spawn a barn or spawn a farmhouse, or you can get something off of Steam Workshop and then spawn in some sort of fancy building that you got off of that. So I'm not entirely sure what he means by that, but it could be one of those two things. And then he also says items have physics now, which is possible due to the new way servers handle them. You can literally have a loot pile in your base. That is awesome. I was totally thinking that when I was dropping a whole bunch of my stuff, I was thinking like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if it kind of plopped it down on the ground like a lot of other games do. When you drop stuff, it'll legitimately just plop it down on the ground of physics. And now that they have physics, you can just start plopping down a bunch of wooden foundations and you'll have like a big pile of stuff in your house. So if you go to throw a grenade in a building, you have to keep in mind that it will scatter around all the loot, so it'll make it harder to find your stuff. So that's going to be super cool. And then he also says, while still being expanded on, the inventory is way better than it was on Monday. Right now on the screenshot, I'm going to show you the picture of what the inventory looked like on Monday. And then now, here's what it looks like. He says, item icons are now rendered from the actual model, which means you can see your attachments even in the inventory screen, as well as the ability to scale for any use. Please post any ideas you have for how to make it better in the comments. So as you can see in the top left, his AR-32, you can see that it has a red dot sight and a foregrip on it, and I think that might be a suppressor on the end, but basically it's showing the attachments on the gun from within the inventory menu. And then also it's a bit more of a snapshot of the organization of things in the game. So a bandana will take up one little square, and an ushanka will take up 4 squares, and then a gun will take up like 8 squares. And then also, pretty smart, he put all of his magazines in the police vest, so that's kind of interesting and a bit realistic. That's awesome. I'm sure that's probably what the police vest was meant for in the first place. And then he says the next few days he will be working on cleaning up existing features, adding the ability to create loot tables, as well as harvesting resources. I'm not entirely sure what he means by create loot tables and harvesting resources. Hopefully he will touch up more on that on Sunday. And then he says that you can expect more news on Sunday. So in the past 2 updates he said updates, and that was kind of confusing because we thought it was going to be an update to the game. Some of us thought it was going to be like 2.2.6 or it was going to be 3.0. But what he was meaning was like he was going to post another one of these blog posts on Sunday, or in this case, Thursday. So he says that he swapped news with update because it was confusing. So good job, Nelson. Cleared up quite a bit of confusion with that. And then he says, I'd also like to respond to questions about the next development livestream. Once all the editor functionality is in and the initial previews are ready, I'll be streaming the work behind the test map so that you can see how it works, etc. So he's going to be having a developer livestream to where we can communicate ideas and start to shape the way 3.0 is going to turn out. So he says, thanks for reading. And that is all. So what do you guys think of this update? Do you like a lot of the things? Are there anything that you don't like? Comment those down below. But other than that, that is all I have for now. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and do all that gibberish because Me Like Big Boom is out.